Shh. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Sorry, guys. Oh, am I here? Can we see me? Is anybody out there? Well, this is, guys, I mean, I was about to give up. In all honesty, I was about to give up. This is hilarious because, you know, I'd really prepared for this stream. I had intro music sorted out. I wasn't on camera and I was going to appear with a dog on me and it was cool. And I had music playing and I did all of that. I did all of that for like 6 or 7 minutes and it all looked like everything was actually streaming. Everything was working fine. And then I went to the actual live page, and despite the fact that all of my previews were working fine, on the live page it said that you were still waiting for me to go live. And at that point I realised it had all gone to waste. It had all gone to waste. So, I'll make it up to you. Teddy, come here. Good boy, come on. Up you. Ah! So it's almost like we've gone back to how it should be, right? Oh, I feel silly. I feel very silly. Teddy's tired of this shit. YouTube, I'm tired of this shit. Why do you do this to me? Stress me out like this. Frustrate me. What? Ugh. Alright, Sam, do you want to say anything to them? No? You don't want to say anything? Okay, cool. On you go then. Good boy. Well, guys, I am glad that I am here because I really thought that this was going to result in me not being able to stream. I'll be honest. But rather, so the other thing that I had planned is to not have to do what I'm about to do now, which is to go and do all of my usual, I'm live, come and check me out thing. But yeah, evidently I do need to do all of that again because I did it all and technically that link won't work for anything now. So I have to do that all again. And I'm going to have to do that on Patreon as well. So please do bear with me. Bear with me. That's it done on my transcriptions page. Let's do it on my personal page. Let's delete that. Oh, fortunately, no one clicked that. But tonight we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to transcribe some Tony Rice. We're going to transcribe some mandolin, and we're going to transcribe some David Greer. So that should all be fun. Let me share this up on Patreon. What a stress. This makes me so mad. I had to change YouTube servers. There's like an alternate server that you can use, and I had to use that for some reason. So, yeah. Lucky we got there. Oh. Cool. Right, let me see. Let's read some comments. Let's see what's happening. So we've got a few people online. Thank you so much for sticking through those technical difficulties, guys. I cannot stress that enough. If I was annoyed, I can only imagine how you guys are getting. You are electing to spend some of your Friday night with me. Friday night, and you're wasting it with me. So, yeah, I know how stressful it must have been to cancel all of your busy plans in order to spend it with me, and to think that I was going to let you down. I don't like letting you guys down. You guys are the best. Yeah, I know. I thought I was gone too. So let's have a look. Yep, live, boy. Yeah, you can see me. Cute doggo. Yeah, cute doggo makes everything better. Good evening, Samal. Is that Samal? Yeah. Cool. So let's actually do some stuff, right? Say that like. Sue Kelly very kindly retweeted me, and unfortunately she retweeted the wrong link. So yeah, you know what that means, guys, don't you? You know what that means. That means I'm going to reach out to you guys and I'm going to say, guys, I have had a disappointment. It's been very disappointing that I didn't reach you in the way that I had intended, or the way that I'd intended to reach you. So why don't you guys help me out? What am I going to say? Please do share this stream. Post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram. I don't have my phone with me, so I can't actually do my usual Instagram thing. I'll get my phone in a second. And yeah, please do post it on Reddit. That's always the one that I'm trying to break into. So 2 seconds, I'm just going to get my phone. And it appears Rick Beato has just gone live. So let's raid Rick's stream, right? If he's still online. Oh no, he streamed 11 minutes ago. Okay, we're not going to get to see Rick, unfortunately. Getting a shout out on live streams is always nice, isn't it? So yeah. Anyway, I got my phone. Let me do the old Instagram thing. Guys, I do apologise for the hiss that's in the background of this video. I don't know why my phone has decided to start doing that, but it's doing that on Instagram now. So sorry about that. But I am live right now on YouTube. Look, check it out. Woo! Say hello, everybody. Say hello, chat. Yeah, cool. Say hello, big lights. Oh, they're blinding. I'll be live for the next 3 or so hours, so please do head on over to my YouTube channel and get involved in the fun. We are going to learn a lot about some bluegrass this time. So, yeah, see some of you guys there later. What a wanker. So, let's see if we've got any more comments, and I'll talk to you about what we're going to do. Oh, is this your first live transcription, Michael? Well, welcome to the fun. This is a lot of fun. It is fun. I do enjoy these. Eating crackers and watching guitar live streams. Just another Friday evening. Yeah, rocks out. Yeah, Rick is the man, and Rick's been very good to me in the last couple of months. It's a bit longer than that now, actually. He's taken me under his wing. He's helping me out with a lot of behind-the-scenes YouTube stuff, and I could guess I can bring my face up. And we're working on some videos together. So yeah, I'll be doing some stuff with Rick. I love Rick. He is legitimately one of the kindest and most kind of generous people that I've been able to deal with on the internet scene so far. You know, always willing to give his time. I know that I can call him on Skype. Literally, you know, I called Rick the other night on Skype and we just chatted for about an hour and a half, just absolute nonsense, talking about guitars and shit. And you know, he's it's not like there's never the feeling of oh, I'm taking up his time. Like we're having a really good conversation, and it's. You know, in business, you can find that sometimes you'll talk to someone and you constantly feel like, you know, they're just waiting for you to go away. And yeah, with Rick, it never feels like that, which is nice. So Rick is a, you know, top tier guy. I don't know why I would be recommending you go and subscribe to Rick Beato's channel. His channel is like 100 times bigger than mine. So you already should have subscribed to Rick. But if you haven't, please do go and, yeah, subscribe up to Rick's channel because he's the best. Yeah, so Michael wants to see some notes being transcribed. Sorry, Michael, I will get to it in a second. Oh, Dubio. Yeah, check this out. It's ridiculous. It is. Oh, it's embarrassing. That's what it is. This isn't my fault. Blame the singing barber, my barber. When I started taking YouTube very seriously, putting more time into things, and when I got better funding on Patreon, my wife was like, look, babe, you need to go and have your hair done. You need to have it done regularly because you've got to look consistent in all of your videos. And I agree. So I found a nice barber, the singing barber, and I go and see him every 2 weeks, and I have a nice time at the singing barbers. I'm in there for a good hour, and, you know, face care and making sure my beard looks perfect and hair always looking good. But the last time I saw Ian being the singing barber, last time I saw Ian was just before Christmas. He managed to fit me in, and then I had an appointment booked like last week, which was already longer than I wanted it to be. But then he was ill, so he's had to cancel. And then he's a great barber, so he's extremely busy. So fitting in with him has been a pain. So I'm not booked in with him until next week. So I'm gonna look like a fucking caveman by the time I get my hair cut. Let me just turn that boiler off. But it's actually quite fitting because this is my redneck beard. Yes, I should probably also check how my microphone is set. Oh, that's probably a bit hot. You probably don't need me that hot, do you? Let me bring it down to about there. So, yes, Dubio. I'm glad you enjoy the... Well, you didn't even close to imply that you enjoyed the beard, but it is there, so it is glorious. Yeah. The ASMR things, like I don't know whether that's people making fun of me or just commenting. I don't know what to do about it. I breathe. It's what I do. I'm a heavy breather. You should hear me snoring. It's atrocious. Anyway, why don't we look at some transcribing? Why don't we do some transcribing? Because Michael wants to see some transcribing, so let's do some transcribing. This is, of course, assuming that you have all gone on social media and shared this video, because, you know, that's also super important, right? Oh, no, we won't do some transcribing. Of course, I've got a couple of other things to do. Oh, yeah. Thank you to some of my supporters over on Patreon. Yeah, you guys rock. You keep the channel going. So, yeah, thank you very much. $10 credits roll, $20 study club. We do like a private stream for those top guys, where we look at a book or an instructional video or whatever, and I talk about what I think of it and my practice from it, and I talk about how I integrate it into my practice routine, and those are a lot of fun. And then of course top guys get private lessons, which is even more fun because private lessons are awesome. And of course, did you know I write books? Yeah. Head on over to Amazon, type in Levi Clay, you will see some of my books. My latest one, Slide Guitar Soloing Techniques, came out just before Christmas. And if you haven't got yourself a copy of that and you don't decide to get one today, well, keep your eyes peeled in my Patreon group, because I'm going to have some exclusive, high-quality printed, signed copies of those, which I will probably be selling even slightly cheaper than they are on Amazon. So, yes. Anyway, let's crack on with the good stuff. So, for those unfamiliar with my work flow, the way I do this stuff, whoops. So if I... good, it snaps to the correct ratio. That's cool. Let's have a look. I see some comments. What software do you use to pop up those credits and photos during live streams? So, what is that? After Rock Radio. I'm streaming using OBS, which is this piece of software over here. Infinite Loop. So I have a few different scenes set up. I have this scene, which is, my face. This scene, which is screen capturing this screen. This is a custom scene I've made, which is my my credits, and then this scene, which is again a custom scene that I've made with all the images. So that's how I go about doing that. If you're looking to live stream, OBS is a great way to do that, and it's actually how I capture all of my my YouTube videos as well. So there you go. Oh God, Yeaterson's back. Anyway, yeah. So for anyone unfamiliar with my workflow and how I go about doing this, I am using. I'll make myself just a hair smaller. I'm using Transcribe, the software. Now this is great because you can use it to open up video. You'll notice that I've got video down here at the bottom.
Okay, here's another tune that's very similar to Gold.
So this is, Transcribe, the software that actually opens video when you have GStreamer installed in it. There is a link in my description below where you can purchase Transcribe, the software, and that's actually an affiliate link. So you buy the software, I think it's like $40, and I get like $10. So it's a really, really good way to support the channel. So if you do want to do what I'm doing, Transcribe is, I'm not going to say I couldn't do my job without it, but my job would be a lot harder without Transcribe. If you're new to watching me do this, you'll see why in a second. And on the right here, we have Guitar Pro 7. I don't recommend buying Guitar Pro 7. I hate them. Dreadful company, but it's the most cost-effective piece of software on the market for transcribing for clients. If I was working in something like Sibelius, it literally costs 10 times more than Guitar Pro. So, when I do a transcription for you, the chances of you having a Sibelius file that you can, open is, having the Sibelius program so you can open the Sibelius file is very low, whereas Guitar Pro is a lot more common. So there we go. What else have we got? I should do his voice, shouldn't I? Oh, Vocalac. Oh, sorry I missed your comment. You're wondering how come I moved to Glasgow? Same answer, and people that have watched me for a long time will probably know this. They'll know the first words that are going to come out of my mouth. Have you ever paid London rent prices? When I was living in London, the last year or so that I was in London, I needed to make £2,000 a month just to, sort all of our rent and bills out. That's a lot of money. Up here, my mortgage is £600. Renting in London, £2,000. Up here, I own a house, so it's a cost-effective thing. Martin, Tux Guitar. Yeah, so Tux Guitar is great if you don't want to spend any money, but if you're a professional, Guitar Pro, well, it's not the most professional piece of software. Again, for like top-level professional stuff, you want to use something like Sibelius or Finale. But I always make a case for Guitar Pro because it's verging on professional. That's actually why I don't like the company, because I've worked with them in the past, and I've offered to help them turn their software into something that could be truly deemed professional. And I didn't even want paying. I just wanted a better piece of software to be able to use. And they thought that selling a substandard piece of software is more important than listening to me. So yeah. What else have we got? So there we go. Tux Guitar, and of course, Tux Guitar essentially is just open source software, right? So Tux Guitar is handy if you don't want to spend money. But I hear that it will open a Guitar Pro 7 file, so in theory it's all good for you. But depending on the file I'm working on, sometimes I really go to a lot of extremes in my Guitar Pro files to get the sounds to sound right and having the changes of effects, patches, and things like that. Tux Guitar certainly has limitations compared to Guitar Pro, but if you're using it as a free piece of software, why not? I don't take issue with it. So interesting. There's a few of you all talking about Tux. Guitar Pro is the best notation software all around. Yeah, so Sibelius and Finale, they're not made by guitar players, and they're not made for guitar players. Standard notation and guitar don't marry perfectly together. You can notate anything in standard notation, but it doesn't mean it will be easy to do it. Like, there's fiddly ways of notating unconventional techniques, because guitarists tend to do a lot of unconventional things. So yeah, Glasgow. It's more importantly, when I lived in London, because I had to earn so much money in order to make ends meet, I was working so many hours that there was no time to do anything. And even if there was time to do anything, you were broke from just how much you'd had to pay for rent and shit like that. More importantly, you were physically and mentally exhausted. So I didn't feel like I had enough of a social life in London, and everyone's like that in London. There's that sense of everyone's very busy all the time, and when you're on public transport, you look at the floor and you don't communicate with the people around you. It's for such a busy city, it can be a very lonely place. Whereas I found that coming to Scotland all the time, the people up here are extremely friendly, very welcoming. I find it very difficult to deal with that still when I'm out with my wife walking the dogs. If she sees anyone, any stranger, she'll look, smile, morning, nice day, etc. I can't do that, Londoners don't do that. So but it's a nice feeling, having that sense of community. Yeah, so that makes living up here a lot more enjoyable. Sibelius too unwieldy. Plus closer to K-Mac's brother. Yes. I mean, I did know Mike before I moved up here. I didn't know Kieran before I moved up here. But obviously I knew Kieran before he became an internet megastar. Motherfucker. Oh, Tailed Feature is online. Tailed Feature, how's it going, brother? I should probably get on with some work, right? I should actually get some stuff done. Oh look, we got 35 people online. This is awesome. How have I done all of the usual things? The credits and the books, and not pointed out that another way to support the channel is you can send me super chats. Yeah, and have YouTube take 30% of it. Yeah, it's awesome. Anyway, so I plugged the software, Transcribe, so let's take a look at what we're going to do. Now, the focus for tonight, like I say, this is the Bluegrass Bonanza. Every month on my Patreon group, I take sort of like a theme, a concept. It might be a song or like a rhythm technique or whatever, like bebop or whatever it happens to be. And I'll pick some transcription pieces that fall in line with that as a concept. And this month, I took Bluegrass as the concept, and I took Blackberry Blossom, the piece Blackberry Blossom. And I found 3 versions of it, all of varying levels, that would give us different things that we could talk about. So we've got the Tony Rice version of Blackberry Blossom, we've got a mandolin version of Blackberry Blossom, and we have got... I see what you've done there, Elio. We've got David Greer version of Blackberry Blossom. So we're gonna look at those 3 things. It's an opportunity for us to talk about bluegrass and transcribing it and melodies and rhythmically, this stuff is usually very simple. And of course, because we're doing mandolin, it gives us the opportunity to talk about transcribing things that aren't guitar, which of course I'm going to do without my mandolin. I have a mandolin upstairs, but you know, you should be able to transcribe things that aren't your instrument, which is always kind of good, you know. Elio says, do you have t-shirts, or do you do t-shirts? It's funny you should mention that, yes, but not Levi Clay t-shirts. You can get a Guitar Souls t-shirt if you look for Guitar Souls, which is my podcast with Mike. That's another great way to support not only me, but also Mike. So, yes, if you enjoy the... Look at all of this. Do I have an Amazon wish list for public support? You know what? I do. And I'm going to share it. Because I like stuff. I actually got lots of different Amazon wish lists for different like aspects of my life, but I have a guitar list, so let's share this list. There you go. I do have a lot of jeans. Yeah, if you want jeans, mine are the best. I say that. I'm wearing Wranglers. Wranglers. So there we go. Fun times. Anyway, so let's take a look at the 3 transcriptions that we're going to look at. So I've got this Tony Rice thing. He also then does a slow version of it. And you'll notice inconsistencies in his picking technique when he does that. Picks it in a way that you'd never be able to pick it at speed. So there's that we're doing. Then there is also, I've not actually even loaded it up. Let me load it up. There's that, and there's also that. I think what you can tell from this is that I use Y2Mate in order to download all of my videos from YouTube. So yeah, once we've done that, we're going to take a look at this. Which should, you know, be rhythmically it's very easy, note-wise it's very easy, but like I say, if you're completely new to mandolin, if you've never considered having to write something out for mandolin, you need to know a little bit about the instrument in order to do that. And then finally, the one that's going to kick all of our asses, mine included, is that one. Now, this is great. I could just listen to him play all day. These great long flowing lines, and it's just flawless alternate picking technique, isn't it? That just goes and goes and goes. So let's take a look. After Rock Radio, if you want to send me things from my wish list, be my guest. I am always happy. Those books are, and it's all music books, isn't it? There are always music books on there that I'm wanting to add to my collection, things that I don't yet have. And these are things that I'm likely to talk about on Study Club streams, which is, again, Patreon exclusive stream. So, basket case, yeah. Is he a cross picker? Cross picking would refer to like crossing strings without economy of motion, alternate picking across, one note per string stuff. So you have to be in bluegrass. When you watch other people play, you get disheartened because I've played for 18 years. Yeah. Well, Tail, the thing I'd say about that is I think everybody feels that way about their own playing because we never really notice our own progress, right? Even if it's only small steps, we never notice our own progress, and we always feel trapped by our own limitations, and we always know our limitations a lot better than people that listen to us and observe us do. So yeah, I play the same 4 licks over and over and over and over and over, and I hate it. I want to punch myself in the face every single time I play them, but no one ever seems to mind. It always creates, when I'm working with students or whatever, there's always that impression that, wow, Levi, you just improvise and you just go and you go and you go and you just constantly playing new stuff. And it's not, it's dressing up the things that I do all the time. I hate it, but they don't notice. So yeah, we all know that frustration, man. Hello, Brent, how's it going? Yeah, so, and I guess that's another thing to talk about with Patreon. So Stephen has actually transcribed 2 of these transcriptions himself. And yeah, the whole point of these streams is that I'm transcribing things and then comparing my work to other people in the groups so I can help them with their transcriptions and help them improve. Stephen is a great transcriber, very fast. Assuming he's not busy with work, when I announce the monthly streams, you give it 3 days and he will have done most of them. There's a couple of guys in my group that are really quick like that, which is both inspiring and depressing, right? Anyway, so let's take a look at Tony Rice.
Okay, here's another tune that's very similar, and it's just sort of a flat picking.
I don't know who this Peter character is, Runner. Do you mean Jordan Yeaterson?
And for you now.
So I feel bad when I do this spiel for anyone that has watched a lot of my transcribing things. What I'm doing now is I'm marking out the file. So I'm putting in all of these measure markers, measure 18, measure 19, and that will help me to loop things like this. That's really helpful for me in the long run. Yeah. Well, Tailed, I hear that there's this social event that's happening soon that you're coming to. So the opportunity to play will probably be there. Oh, that's a great question, Russell. Will transcribing help me break out of cliche playing? So I want to, of course, say yes, but then I remember that a minute ago I was telling you how that I play the same licks over and over and over again. But yeah, no, absolutely. So Tony just played this lick. That right there is a cool lick. Now, could you play that? Like right now, could you play that? Maybe, maybe not. After transcribing this, could you play it? Again, maybe not. Maybe you just because you transcribed it doesn't mean you've learnt it, right? After you've learnt it, could you play it? Yes, obviously. What we're trying to achieve is hearing this and not just go, okay, these are the notes that he plays and I can play that, but to hear it immediately and have a concept of what it is, so you have a rough idea of how it's done. Now, the reason we're aiming to do that is because it improves our imagination. That's really what this comes down to. You can't, if you've never heard, like a typical bluegrass run like that, if you've only ever listened to Eric Clapton, in your entire life, you've only heard Eric Clapton, right? And I say, sing me a melody. You could sing for 100 years and you're never going to go. So by exposing ourselves to new styles like this and just forcing ourselves to transcribe these things and learn these things and study them a little bit, what that's going to hopefully do is expand our imagination a little bit and help us hear and create new ideas. So it's expanding our influences. So in theory, that will help you break out your cliches. Okay, so 36 bars, not that long. Now, just before I get started actually transcribing this, I think it's worth mentioning time signatures, right? So I think when most of you listen to this, we know that there's a 4 feel, right? He's not playing in 9/16, you know. It's a common feel that he's playing with. But one of the questions that I often get asked is, what's the difference between 4/4, which is obviously the most common time signature, and 2/2? Because in theory, those two things are the same thing, right? They both contain 8 eighth notes, right? So I'm just going to leave this one a second, right? Give me a comment below. Give me a comment in that comment section, right? What's the difference between 2/2 and 4/4? How can you tell the difference between those two things? Somebody answer me. What is the difference between 2/2 and 4/4? How can we hear the difference between 2/2 and 4/4, like immediately when you listen to something? Or what's a telltale sign? What's one of the giveaways, the difference between 2/2 and 4/4? How's it going, Patrick? Tutu is Gypsy Jazz. No, actually, Russian bot. I would probably always put Gypsy Jazz in 4/4. Pulse. Ah. So John Chan, strong beat. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by that? I like that answer. It's a good, yeah. This is, obviously this is the type of thing that I do with my students, right? I don't like, I hate it when I ask a question like, hey, Dave, what scale is this? And I play a scale and they go, A minor pentatonic? I'm like, you tell me. I didn't ask you to, I wanted you to tell me. Don't ask me, tell me. Emphasizing the first beat of each 2. But this idea of 2/2 feeling slower, no, if anything, to me, often 2/2 feels faster because you tend to use 2/2 at much faster tempos. Russell would never write in 2/2, so you don't know. Okay, I'll give John a few more seconds just to potentially elaborate on that concept. Crispin Smith has just watched one of my YouTube videos and said, somehow I feel I'm going to be spending a lot of time on this video. What video is that though, Crispin Smith? There we go. So Patrick's got it, and I like to think that this is because Patrick knows it, and it's not because I've been banging on about this in the Patreon group for quite a while. And Tailed Feature's sort of on the point there, right? So to me, the way I differentiate between these two time signatures is where the strong beat falls. Now, if you think of like think of like country. I'll pick up my telly. If you think of like a country bass part, right? That type of thing, right? When you listen to that type of thing. We have two... Yeah, I know you learned it from me, Patrick. We have two strong beats in the bar. And the accents tend to be on beats 1 and 3, right? So we're hearing that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. To me, that's what 2/2 indicates. It's the accents being on 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas 4/4, on the other hand, a lot more common. We use 4/4 a lot more often. I've got an itch in the back of my throat. That's going to drive me crazy. 4/4 a lot more common, but that's where I think of like a typical rock backbeat. If you think of a drum groove, where does a snare fall in a groove? We have like gypsy jazz is a great example of this, right? In gypsy jazz, you don't have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the difference to my ears. If something has a 1 and 3 groove, then I'll notate it in 2/2. If something has a backbeat, like a traditional rock backbeat with the accents on 2 and 4, I put it in 4/4. So that's relevant here because I'm really hearing this as 2/2 at a high speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could feel it at half that speed. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you might hear as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But then you're going to have to use 16th notes in order to notate it, and it's a lot more traditional to see these bluegrass things played at high tempos with 8th notes rather than slower tempos with 16th notes. So there we go, we got a little bit nerdy, but that's really the difference. So I would prefer to notate this in 2/2. Now, we'll deal with the anacrusis, the pickup bar, in a second, but let's just take a look at what he's actually doing. So again, just to kind of plug this software for anyone that wants to pick up a copy, what I tend to do is I subdivide the beat by 4 beats, subdivide the bar by 4 beats, because now I can see very clearly where each one of my beats are. If you ask me what does beat 2 sound like, I can highlight that, and it's a silly speed, so I'll slow it down. Very useful. But if I highlight that entire measure, yeah, nerdy is definitely what we should be here for. So when I look at that measure, we can see that we've got, well, hopefully we can hear that we've got consistent 8th notes. Da 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 da. So do we need to talk about what I just did there? That's an important skill, and one that we absolutely need to be working on, need to be conscious of, and something that we should be focusing on developing, right? I've listened to this phrase a couple of times. I don't need to hear him play it again. Da 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 da. I've internalized that melody. It's something that I can already hear, and I could speed it up. Da ba da ba da ba da da. Da 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 da. It's processed. That will help with my transcribing of it because there's no guesswork involved, right? I know the notes that I'm going for. I'm not playing a note and then listening to the recording and, you know, trying to compare the two things. I'm playing the note that I'm singing. Ba 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 ba. So let's write that down. And like I say, it's 8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and da, 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 da. Let's read these comments. I'm desperately reading your comment over and over, Tailed, thinking, is this like some sort of pickup line joke, or I don't. I feel you have missed the mark there, my masked friend. Da 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 da. It sounds to me like he hammers that, but I'm just gonna. And to be honest, like what I'm doing here is obviously very high level, intermediate, high level stuff. Just being able to hear a melody like that, ba da 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 da, and I can imagine how I'd play that, ba 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 da da da, in the same way that if I played ba 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 da 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 da. I think the skill of like a pentatonic phrase like that, I think the skill of like a pentatonic phrase, anything that you can sing using the pentatonic scale, I bet you could sing a pentatonic phrase and then play it. And why is that? Well, it's because you've heard it a million times, right? And you've built up a connection between how you finger a pentatonic scale and what the notes sound like. Well, I've just gone one step further, and I've done that with major scales and pentatonic scales, major pentatonic scales, sorry. Yeah, so I hear a phrase like that. That's really interesting what he does there. That's really interesting. So, I see a question's come in, sorry. Random question. How much music do you listen to on a normal day when your job is playing and transcribing music? I listen to a lot of music that I'm transcribing, obviously. But despite the shape of me, I am an avid goer of the gym. And I'm not talking GYM, Jim McDonald's. Although I did have a cheeseburger tonight because I was in a rush before this stream. But I go to the gym and I absolutely love these AirPods because it makes, just listening to music whilst moving around a lot very easy. And I'm a big fan of Spotify, so I'm constantly listening to music when I'm in the gym every night. So I listen to a fair amount there. But to be fair, it's a different thing. A lot of metal and a lot of nostalgic music. I was in the gym yesterday listening to Marilyn Manson, and then what did I put on after that? I put Limp Bizkit's Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavoured water on because I had this memory in my mind of Wes Borland's guitar style being quite obviously different for the time. So I wanted to hear some of that, and he didn't disappoint. So I still like try and fit in as much music as I can, but nowhere near as much as I used to, because I work from home. Like the big time that I used to be able to listen to music before I was, I've been self-employed for my entire career, but before I was self-employed and working out of my home office, not having to go places and schools and teaching and things like that. Commuting, especially in London, great for listening to music, but now I don't commute. Listening to music very difficult. Oh, there's another random question. We'll do that one. After using an ever-true True Temperament frets on guitar, why would you go back? I imagine it's so great to use. Lots and lots of reasons, right? The True Temperament is good. It's better. It is better than a standard fretted guitar, right? But unless I'm recording something that needs to be better, Why does it matter? Like, I just picked up my Telecaster, right? I didn't even check if it was in tune because it didn't really matter. It didn't matter. It got the job done. So, yeah, I use the Telecaster for the most part. I know this is going to sound crazy, but, well, I love that Telecaster. But it just saves wear and tear on the true temperament frets. I know it won't sound crazy. Those frets aren't cheap, and you know, having a fret dress on them is also not going to be cheap when I have to do that. So if I can, exactly, $3 trillion, if I can put off the cost of having a fret job done, I say that. I mean, like, of all of my guitars, I've literally never in my entire playing life ever had to have a fret dress done on any of my guitars, and I've never had a guitar refretted. Though I've got 2 guitars that right now I'm looking at, I'm going, maybe it's time for you boys. So I'm sure those true temperament frets are going to last a long time, and they are harder than your typical nickel frets. So yeah, they should last, but it's just a different guitar. True temperament offers stainless steel frets now. What? Is that true? Is that true? Motherfuckers! Ah! Getting carried away. Also, you know, the Evertune TT guitar. I was going to say the Evertune TT guitar is heavy, and it is. But there's actually another reason why I don't use my Evertune TT guitar for everything. I have it tuned to drop C. That's, you know, that gets in the way when you need to transcribe something that's not drop C. So, now, this is why I say this is interesting, because he goes for that C, right? But he picks a G. So he hammers onto that. So he picks the open G while hammering onto the C. So already I've processed those next 2 beats. Da, da, da. Ba, ba, ba. I'll go about right now. Ba, ba, ba. Ba, 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 ba. I can't sing low. Da, 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 da. And anyone watching, I use this button here in Guitar Pro called play while editing. Before I did that, I used to write stuff out like this. Now, you can't, I'm sure you probably can't tell the difference, but I'm literally putting in a note and then pressing play and pause on my mouse to hear the note. So when I had that revelation that I could put play while editing on, and then when I input a note, it gives me the actual note. That's been very helpful for me. Saves me a lot of time. You still have your first guitar. So my first guitar was a Washburn BT9. I mentioned this on a Guitar Souls stream, the last Guitar Souls podcast. I didn't mention what happened to it though. While I was teaching at the last school that I was teaching in, I took that guitar in for the students to use because it was a terrible, terrible school that was severely under-equipped with equipment. So I just took that guitar in for people to use, for students to use. They ended up stiffing me on a bunch of money. So I stiffed them, basically. I was like, fuck your job, stick your job. I literally don't need it. Like, I'm sticking around here because I'm trying to help you guys out. I'm trying to help you get where you need to be. I'm trying to give you a bit of a fucking reputation for, you know, having good teachers, but fuck you guys. And yeah, I essentially never went back into the school, and I just left my guitar there. So that guitar is lost to time. I'm good at letting go of things like that though. Russian bot. The ones that are on the TT guitar currently, they're not nickel frets. They're like a brass. They're brass alloy. They're some sort of alloy. They're not. They're cast. They're actually cast. That's their cost-effective way of doing it. So yeah. Is the way he plays, he's bracing his right arm towards the back of the guitar, an old school method? That's a really interesting question. I mean, it's quite common on acoustic because you would hold it that way because you could sort of stand up and play the guitar without a strap. Although, of course, it's not very comfortable to do that. But, you know, it's a way of getting by. Yeah. Yeah, I know. School equipment, rubbish. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Ba ba da. Really looking for that note there, wasn't I? Now, I like this because he anticipates that the melody repeating. We're going to go in for that same phrase. Ba 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 da da bum ba 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 da 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 da. There's some pitching issues there, but the point is he doesn't play on the repeat da 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 da. It's 2, 3, 4 da 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can literally see it in Transcribe. The note begins here, not here. And this is where transcription becomes a messy thing, right? Because you can obviously hear that he plays that D string and then plays the G string, and they ring into each other. Now we could either put that in with a let ring, we could put that in with a tie, or what I'm more inclined to do is not put anything in. Now when I heard that melody, I'm basically reading this part to see if it's the same, and in this case it is, so I'll just copy and paste that across and then tie the note. Now he's definitely playing that with a hammer, so now he doesn't do the I'm going to go back and double check. Yeah, and you know, using the software, I can literally see his picking hand. He plays the downstroke, he hammers, and then he waits to play an upstroke, which, as far as technique goes, is not what I'd ever recommend. I think that's actually a very bad habit, very uncharacteristic of a high-level bluegrass player. But he is doing it, so. I know he does hammer on to that third fret again. That's one of those sort of minor details that you wouldn't necessarily worry about, but actually when you look at a great player like David Greer, I did obviously the Cracking the Code transcriptions, David Greer's Cracking the Code transcriptions, or Troy Grady transcriptions, and Masters in Mechanics transcriptions, and you know, Troy was very specific when we were listening to him. The thing he found interesting was how often David would hammer a note and pick a different string to create that sort of sense of harmony. Russell Bannister, is that your song that is played on the intro of all your videos? It has a ripping lead melody. Yes, that is one of my songs. If you go in the description to this video, you'll find a link to my Bandcamp. On there, you will find the Hellcat Molly album, Out of the Ashes, and that is track 2 on that album, and it's called Break. So, yeah, if you were interested in the, you know, the rock guitar singer, the rock band version of that, where I have a singer singing the melody, check out of the Ashes. If you aren't interested in my singer, and that would be a shame because he's very good, it's a good song, that. My wife always sings the melody to that, and she's like, I hate it, I can't get it out of my head. And I'm like, it's a good song. What was I saying? Yeah, so if you, while you're on my Bandcamp, if you also check out the album Into the Whiskey, that's an instrumental version of Out of the Ashes, and I brought in some of my friends to play guest solos on it, and the same track order. That track 2, I had my friend Martin Miller come in and play some lead guitar on, and I play all the vocal melodies on guitar instead. And we renamed it Follow the Route, which is a bit of a dig at Theodore Zirass, because I'm an asshole and I like poking people on the internet. And Russian Bot, yeah, Bluegrass, more like Bach. There is so much crossover in that world. Oh yeah, learning this stuff without the software. I mean, as your ear develops, I'll be able to. Da 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 ba 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 da 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 da. I've heard it just the once. I've already memorized what the melody is, but yeah, the way I can do that is I've got very well developed ears. But the way I've developed those ears is by having the software to help build that skill up. Ba da da da. Da 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 da. Ba ba. He's going to repeat the melody. Now again, I'm up here and I'm reading it along, and I'm just seeing if it's exactly the same, and if so, I can use copy paste, right? Let's see what's happening. Mandates with Guitar Greats Jimmy Bruno episode. I've actually talked to is he one of my patrons? I've got a friend on Facebook. I don't believe he's one of my patrons, but he kind of knows Jimmy. I would love to do one with Jimmy. He's almost as grumpy as I am. I've never learnt any King Crimson. No, sorry. The closest I've ever come to that was when I interviewed Jacko Jaksic for Guitar Interactive magazine, which is one of the last interviews I did for those guys. Anyway, yes, I'm checking here. So it's identical up until this bar. So we've got two options here, right? I could do this, which means using a lot of page, or I could put a repeat line in here and have it repeat back to the start of the piece. But of course, this would be my first time ending. And then on the second time ending, I would then just transcribe this. Da 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 ba 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 da 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 bum ba da 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 dun da 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 ba da ba da ba da ba da ba ba ba. And of course, having video here is helpful. Ba ba bum ba ba. Ba ba ba. Because we can see that his hand opens up at this point, so we know that the next note is going to be lower down than the 5th fret. Now, a big part of being a guitar player, this is totally a guitar player thing. I don't think a pianist would spot this. But this note here Of course, I've got the video to help me, but in theory, these are the same notes. What's the difference between this note and this note? I'll give it a second. What's the difference between this note and this note? I'll just keep reading your comments until somebody gives me the correct answer. Very easy answer. Rick Graham is a set. Oh, that tickled me. So what's the answer? Yeah, see? You're overdub, yeah. It's really funny. I just I did a Pink Floyd live Dave Gilmour thing. I forget where it was, and there's an overdub in there, so painfully obvious. Not just because of the sound, but also because at the time when it happens, they're focused on Dave's hands. You know, if you're going to do an edit that dramatically different, cut away. You know, have the camera look at the bass player or something, because yeah, you can very clearly hear the fact that he's playing a G sharp, like first fret of the G string, and yet on the recording he plays an open string and then tries to find another note, like plays two more notes in different places on the neck, like looking for a good note, and he's fixed it in post and changed it to a G sharp. I can play them again for you. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. I mean, they are hugely different, are they not? The second one's an open string. So that makes me want to check this one to see if that was an open string and I maybe just didn't notice it. No, that one's still fretted. So rather than being as played before, which is bum, ba, 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 he's not playing that on the fifth fret, he's playing an open string. Da 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 da. Now, the options here, I'm going to put that as a grace note. Let's have a look what we got. I know, yeah, it's cripplingly disappointing. I keep feeling that my YouTube channel is growing, but I know that 14,000 of those subscribers are just Peter. Ba-da-da-da. Whoops. Ba-da-da-da. Ba, 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 ba. Now, actually, I'm going to delete that. Obviously, I'm right in what I wrote out. But again, when you're practicing something like this, you know, listen to this. Whoops, 2 beats, yeah, sorry. Without looking at him, right? Hear it. Ba 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 da 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 da. Now I'm already fingering it because I'd know how I would play that, right? But just that first note, da. The next note, da da da. Can you imagine how far those notes are away from each other? Does it sound like a fifth? Ba 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 ba. No, it's a semitone. Da 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 da. And again, I'm constantly fingering it because I'm sort of I have that connection between my inner ear and my hands now. I've transcribed some Marshall Harrison. Yeah, I transcribed some stuff of his for his group before, just as a sort of challenge, because people were like, no one could transcribe this, and I was like, ba 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 da 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 da. That's a classic little ba da da da. Now I would play that, if I was playing country guitar. It's alright, Teddy, don't worry. I would play that like this. What do you mean I haven't proved that you can transcribe Sean Lane? Go on my website and look up Sean Lane on there. I've got free Sean Lane transcriptions for people. Yeah, so instead of going in Bluegrass, you might go. Now this is like thinking G, I would imagine. E minor. Or when I'm doing that, I say when I'm doing that, you can literally see Tony playing around that chord form. And then he plays to make this jump down to that open position. Now, why would he be doing that? It's a caged approach. It's playing around positions, chord positions. I've not actually done any live Sean Lane transcriptions. You know what? The best part about the Sean Lane thing is I'm busy enough in my career now with my transcribing that I don't have to take on every job that comes my way. I can say I'm not interested in jobs. And generally speaking, Sean Lane and Alan Holdsworth are two artists where when they come in, I say I'm not interested. Now it's going to play the same basic melody. Let's see if it's the same. Let's see if we can use second time endings repeat. Nope, different. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, okay, I can use a second time ending. Basically the exact same musical motif with a different ending. So hopefully you picked this up, Stephen. Hopefully you didn't waste ink, because you know how much I hate wasting ink. So basically the same phrase, but ba-da-da-ba plays the open D. Then we'll have an ending phrase. articulating it as I go. Okay, done. And I'm afraid that's all. No, we've got time for plenty more, guys, don't worry. So that was a relatively easy transcription, right? Oh no, sorry, there's the anacrusis, the pickup bar. How did I forget that? Because I just wanted to get this done, didn't I? Let's get that looking back to how it was. Cool. So we've got a pickup bar. And the reason I left that is because I wanted to talk about, you know, this being a full bar and eighth notes and all of that stuff. Let's get the speed. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Using 2, 2, of course. Easier to count. So what I can do is I can put in a half note and tap tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So it's about 110 BPM when the beats are half notes, minims, which would be 220 BPM if you were playing in playing quarter note pulse. That should be spot on now. Should we check it? No, let's save it. Because of course these will all go up for download for my patrons, so if you want access to these transcriptions, then you should head on over to my Patreon page. Man, I'm good at plugging. What one is this? Tony Rice. Blackberry Blossom. That'd be my wife home. Oh, and you guys know what that means. When my wife comes home, I go and say hello to her and I play music. So let me just listen to this. Yes, I would say Guitar Pro is much better than Sibelius for transcribing. Look how fast I can work. Right, so that is saved. I am going to go and say hello to my lovely wife. Let me press play on the audio that I have. I'll queue up 2 songs. There you go, 2 songs.
The hurt they spread throughout his
No, you don't get to the guitar solo on that one. Sorry. Oh, someone's going to the shops. My wife. Do you guys want to hear how perfect my wife is? It's Burns Night in Scotland. Obviously, an important part of Scottish culture. Burns Night. So she's just come home from work and has told me that she's ordered me a haggis supper. Because that's, you can't have Burns Night without having some haggis, apparently. So, anyway, let's see what else. How many? Wow, we lost about 10 people. 10 people didn't want to watch me, didn't want to listen to my music. No problem. Could CD Big Man Dally. Though pointing that out, there's plenty of shite talk here anyway, regardless of you being here. Let me see if I've had any interesting notifications. No. Responding to Dusty. No, we're all good. Okay, cool. So why don't you crack on? So that was the Tony Rice one, and I think that came out quite well. Yeah, the only thing that's worth pointing out with Bluegrass and also transcribing is the guys that do it tend to have this really interesting mix of straight versus swing. It's not quite straight, but it's not quite swing. There's a little bounce to the way they play. You can't really notate that correctly because our swing notation options are these, and it's really none of those. It's a more subtle, very, very subtle thing. And swing as a concept, when you think about it, I'll bring myself up full screen. Swing as a concept is like having two notes, 2/8 notes this long, right? Swing would be having one 2 times the length of the other. So a triplet bass swing, 1 and a 2 and a da, 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 da. But you could be anywhere. You could have your 2 equally spaced notes and make one just a little bit longer than the other. And that would give you a much, much more subtle swing. And when you listen to these bluegrass players, that's what they have going on. It's not quite straight, but it's not quite swing. But it's super cool, no matter what way you look at it. Yeah. Some people do actually follow my transcriptions, believe it or not. Yeah. Some people actually support me on Patreon so they can learn. You should do that too. I've had no new patrons sign up, so, why am I even doing this, guys? Right, on to the next one. So mandolin now, right? Now I wanted to talk mandolin because, well, actually, again, a big part of learning, a big part of developing your style and all of that type of stuff is drawing influences from other instruments. You will find cool influences from other instruments, and the mandolin is a great example of this. When you look at bluegrass musicians in general, they steal from each other all the time. Fiddle players, banjo players, mandolin players, guitar players, we all steal each other's ideas, and adapting an idea that you hear on the mandolin and trying to do it on the guitar will often result in something very un-guitar. It's all about shit for you. Very un-guitar-y, but can open new ideas. So when it comes to transcribing for mandolin is very, very easy to transcribe for, because unlike guitar, there's very, very rarely is there a question of where is this note being played, because the strings are tuned in fifths. It's tuned G, D, A, E. Because the distance between strings is greater than on a standard guitar, there's no question of is he playing this at the 4th fret or the open string, because all of your it would be the 7th fret or the open string, and that's quite a distance, quite a jump. So in that open position, you can play everything quite easily. So if I just load this up, you'll see what I mean. Now his swing is a lot more deliberate, like da 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 da, different to the Tony Rice feel, but. Because this is so slow, I would usually just put it on 150. Get the idea, I'm not going to go that far with it. Yeah, so not too hard to hear. So I am going to open up a new transcription file and we'll just deal with doing mandolin stuff. But to answer the question, what is the hardest instrument to transcribe for? That is a good question, right? I think ultimately it's going to be a case of transcribing for something that you don't know how to play. If you have no concept of how to play an instrument, then it's hard to transcribe for. Guitar is a good example of that. If you play piano and you've never picked up a guitar, you might be able to hear what a guitar player is doing, but really understanding how they're doing it is another matter entirely. When you factor in things like open tunings, that just transcribing guitar for me and not transcribing guitar and not transcribing standard tuned things that are done in an unorthodox way, can be very, very hard. So based on that, what I would say is something that I find very, very difficult to transcribe for, but it's probably my favourite instrument, is the pedal steel. On a pedal steel guitar, assuming you've got an E pedal steel, so tuned to E9 chromatic, you've got a weird tuning, 10 strings, and then you've got foot pedals and knee levers that will change the pitch of strings. So not only is it really difficult to transcribe for, but it's even more difficult to actually notate how to do it. So I thought, I'd find that probably the hardest thing to play for, transcribe for. Another one that's quite difficult, in all honesty, would be something like the banjo. And the reason for that is because on the banjo you have a high string. You'd have you have the strings get lower, but then you like ba 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 ba. There's a high string on the bottom, so that note obviously is going to be played with the thumb. So it can be put in quite unexpected places, would be the way to put it. When you transcribe sax to guitar, do you mostly use single strings with double stops or a combo? I mean, you can't really do double stops to transcribe sax, can you? Because saxophone is a monophonic instrument. It can only play one note at a time. I mean, if something is microtonal, it's obviously extremely difficult to transcribe for. Not because it's difficult to transcribe, but because it's difficult to notate. If our notation conventions can't handle it, then it's difficult to transcribe for. But I've recently just done... you know what? I'll open it up for you. I'd never done this one before, but I'll bring it up. I'll just bring up my mandolin. Oh, where is this going to be? Probably pull that off screen so you can't see any secret projects that I'm working on. So I've just recently put together all the transcriptions for the Thank You Scientist first album, Maps of Non-Existent Places. This is In the Company of Worms, which is a fretless song. Now there's a good example, like a sliding harmonic. That would be difficult to transcribe if you didn't know that you could do that on a fretless guitar. But of course there's a guitar solo in this. This wasn't the easiest thing to transcribe, neither was this part. And you notice I've got the whammy pedal notation there because he plays with a whammy pedal. But the actual guitar solo sounds like this. Now that last bar in particular was a fucker, and even now I'm not happy with how that's come out. But that's the nature of fretless guitar, because he taps and slides notes. And some of the notes he slides very slowly, like it can't be notated. But then as soon as it goes into this, That's, you know, becomes a lot easier to do. But anything that's anything that is not what you're used to is difficult to transcribe for. Sorry, I went on such a tangent there. Hello, Ryan. How's it going, buddy? Right, so yeah, poor Ryan, you've tuned in to do some Levi Clay transcribing guitar stuff, and here he is doing some mandolin stuff. This should be pretty easy though. So you'll see what I mean. Like if we thought about playing, if we looked at playing a scale on the mandolin, what's G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Damn it. I'm thinking about this as I'm doing it, right? If you look at the way that's fingered, of course I could do that in neck diagrams as well. Let me just do that in neck diagrams. Yeah, I've never even considered doing this in neck diagrams. I don't know how this is if this is gonna work. I'm sure you can do this in neck diagrams. So have a look. Instrument, library, mandolin. There we go. 4-string mandolin. Cool. So our scale would be all of the strings being open, like this. And then we've got bum bum ba ba ba. Fix that. Ba 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 da 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 ba ba. And there's no duplicate notes in there, so you know if you hear a note, there's only one place that it's likely to have been played. So it makes transcribing for mandolin very, very easy. So let's do it. So da 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 da. I can see where he's doing it, right? I can literally look at the video and see that's the 3rd fret, and it must be the high E string. Ba ba, and then I can see that he's going up to that 7th fret. So da 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 da. Da 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 da. And again, there's only one place where that note could be played. It's either going to be there or at the 12th fret on the string below, and that's ridiculous. So it must be at the 5th fret. Put my 2-2 in there. Da 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 da. Ba da da da. And again, only one place these melodies can be played. Da 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 da. He plays the melody wrong. Oh, whoops. So, you know, it's quite easy to do this. sorry, Ryan. I've really been ploughing ahead there, haven't I? Yes, mate. I've not been too bad. Not been too bad. It's been a stressful stream, just purely because when I started up, it didn't actually start, and I was like a good 10 minutes of technical difficulties. But I am back at it now. I'm feeling good about things. So yeah. Da 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 da. And look, see what I did there, right? I know the melody. Da 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 da. What I did was this. Da. I can hear that note isn't high enough. So da. If it's not there, must be there. Ba ba da da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Ba 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 ba. Da 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 da. Ba da 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 da. Fucking hell. See, if I had the mandolin in my hand, much easier, right? Ba da da da. So there's that intro melody for you. I'm going to put that at like the same basics. You know what? You know what would be really fun? Why don't we combine these two things? So I'm going to go on to the Tony Rice, right? I'm going to go track, add track. And I want to add a mandolin track. Because we know the melody here. This is, you know, pick up. So in theory, this should... Oh, I know I picked the wrong bar there. It's there, isn't it? This 8 bars should line up perfectly with Tony. I'd make it a bit quieter. Yeah, I mean, I would say the mandolin player's been a bit too liberal with the melody, but you get the idea. Now, I really don't like this solo that he plays here. It's really sounds like someone meandering through a scale. Technical difficulties! I forget it. I can't remember it. I could play it slowly. And then you got that cool picking. You get the idea. I would love to have played it faster, but unfortunately it gives me technical difficulties. I used to play that a lot when I was a kid. Unfortunately, I'm an old man now. Old, miserable, grumpy. Sat up at midnight transcribing mandolin on the bloody internet. Oh, what a world, right? Yeah. Yeah, I got rid of my PGMs a long time ago. I don't know, I hope everyone that's watching this now, when there's only, there's 15 of you, 16 of you, I hope that you have seen my latest video where I talk through all of the PGM models from memory. I know them all. So this has just been meandering, you know, I'm not even going to bother. I just wanted to address this particular tune on an instrument other than guitar, and I guess actually if we look online, if I go like, I'll bring up a YouTube video. If I go like Blackberry Blossom Dobro. You know, we should be familiar with what the melody sounds like now, so when we hear somebody play it on a different instrument, we can still relate to it. Still makes sense. Oh, yeah, so monophonic meaning single voice, single sound. The guitar is a polyphonic instrument, or homophonic meaning it can play chords, harmony. Yeah, homophonic. Polyphonic really means more than one thing happening at the same time. So if you hear two melodies happening, like if I played two melodies on the piano at the same time, that'd be polyphonic. Whereas if I was just playing chords on the piano, I would think of that as being homophonic. Yeah, but monophonic meaning, yeah, single sound. So there you go. So there was some dobro playing Blackberry Blossom, but we could also go like fiddle, I'm sure. And you'll find someone playing on a fiddle.
This is Blackberry Blossom in the key of G. It could be considered, this can be a real...
Don't care, Hen, just play it.
Blackberry Blossom. 1 and 2 and ready and go and...
I can't think of anything more incorrect than saying 1 and 2 and 3 and go and. What do you mean go? You can't say go and. Surely 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and go.
And go and...
Not the best rendition, right? Let's see someone else playing it.
Contest that's Mary and sister for Mary.
playing around with the melody and having fun with it, which is kind of cool. One more. Let's just do banjo. I'll take the can of juice, but I can't sit and eat on my stream bed. I can't think of anything worse. It's Burns night though, so what's more Scottish, guys, than a can of iron brew? Let's check this version out. This version of everyone And this might appeal to some of you guys watching it who've never really watched people sit down and play bluegrass music before, but like the appeal to me, at least, is it's a very social music. You know, you learn songs for the sole purpose of being able to sit down with people, friends, not professionals, but friends, local communities, and play music. So no guitar solos on that one. Let's just look for one more version. Yeah, so very cool, very I enjoy bluegrass music. Anyway, are banjo strings a lot harder on the fingers than guitar strings? Is that why they use the thumb, picks, and fingers instead of bare fingers due to tradition? No. So, well, I guess your high G string is tuned quite high. So they are tight strings. I will give them that. I wouldn't say they're particularly harder on the fingers. I've got a banjo upstairs that I practiced for a reasonable amount of time. But the reason you play with the thumb picks and the finger picks on the banjo is just purely for the attack. If you play with the fingers, you get too soft a sound. So if you think of like those bluegrass settings, bluegrass is non-amplified instruments. As soon as you bring electric into the equation, it's not bluegrass anymore. So it's about being heard. You need to be heard. It's why the acoustic guitar players are such good pickers, because they have to be. You can't rely on legato technique in a bluegrass band because no one will hear you. You need to be heard. So yeah, when you're using those metal finger picks on a banjo, it really gives you a lot of attack, like crisp, sharp attack to your notes. So that's why they do that. Look at me coming across as some sort of bluegrass expert. How many tattoos do I have? I'm planning on doing, this time it's personal on that. I've got quite a few. I've got my bear there. I've got an owl there. And I've got a fox there. And I've got a raccoon there. and I've got a raven, sorry, that goes all the way across my spine. On this arm I've got lots of video game stuff, and I'm booked in to get a snake done on this side of my neck going all the way up, and I've got another session booked. I don't know what I'm going to have done there, but I assume it'll be at the front here and coming up onto my neck again. So yeah, lots. And I hate getting tattooed too. I hate it. It makes me so miserable. I don't get tattooed well. It's purely a case of when the work is done and I sit down and I look at myself on video, I just go, oh, I'm so happy I did that. Anyway, David Greer, right? Let's do David Greer. So for those unfamiliar with David's playing, David is a killer player. In fact, let's look at some David Greer clips, just to give you an idea of what David's all about. I wanted to get a really high quality video of David to transcribe. But it was that the struggle was getting a song that I could have a simple, an intermediate, and an advanced version of. Unfortunately, yeah, I couldn't get a mixture of all of those where they were all good recordings. But then I heard David playing Blackberry Blossom, I loved it so much that I had no choice but to pick that. I would have rather have done something like this.
I'm David. You say it. That's where I'm going to like.
So it can't be argued that he can play like the guy can play like an absolute motherfucker.
Chat there.
So
Tonight.
see, man, there's
I was going to do that video actually, but I transcribed from that one last month, so I decided that probably wouldn't be the best one to do. There's an instructional video that he did that's, if memory serves, he's much younger, has colour in his hair still.
I know about
Yeah.
slides. Hi there.
Get the idea. Anyway, so I found this clip and I really enjoyed it. Now, hopefully, as soon as you hear this, you can already hear, this is Blackberry Blossom. It's there. We've got our E minor chord. So we're going to keep playing on E minor. We'll have a lick, repeat. So this is B section. And then we'll go back to that A section. I can't sing along with that. Anyway, so let's mark this file out. Again, plugging Transcribe, the software. If you want to get yourself a copy of Transcribe, there's a link in the description below. It's an affiliate link, so when you purchase it via that link, I get a bit of money, so that's good. And if you don't, then you can have an iron brew burp. That's how I'm feeling that. Rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was just thinking about his capo. thinking about that while it's happening. There's a little shift in speed there. Okay, so there's a couple of questions that I saw that are worth answering. First, Mr. Yeaterson, the best picking ever. I mean, they're so difficult to answer because there are so many different criterias with which you can measure. You know, obviously you could look at someone like Sean Lane and just say, well, he's a phenomenal picker, or like Jason Richardson, he's a phenomenal picker. Or going back a bit before that, like Paul Gilbert or Malmsteen, these are all great pickers. These are fast pickers, pattern, you know, what I always call pattern pickers. When you compare that to the likes of like great bluegrass players, someone like, well, you could say David Greer or Carl Miner or Tony Rice, of course. Anyone from that world of playing, they're great alternate pickers. They might not be as fast as you know, the shred guys, but they're definitely more articulate. They're more in control of what they do, and they have fewer limitations. Their only limitation is speed. The guys that play fast, often their limitation is note choice. I always lean more towards the guys that are limited by speed, and then look at the guys that are kind of top tier that don't kind of push those speed boundaries within what they do. So, you know, I usually want to say like one of the bluegrass guys, or if you want to look at someone that has a bit of the best of both worlds, then someone like Andy Wood, who just dropped an album today, by the way. Andy Wood just dropped a new album. He's a phenomenal picker. Really good, because he grew up a mandolin player. Mandolin's his first instrument, so you need to be a good picker to play mandolin, and he grew up playing bluegrass, so he's a good picker. And then he got into Van Halen and became, you know, a bit more shred, but he's certainly got everything that you could ever hope for as a picker. But I'm also, of course, always impressed by guys like Mike Stern, or who else on that scene is just phenomenal. There's just too many. You could go down the route of looking at, you know, again, what is a good picker. I really like gypsy jazz players. And it would be difficult to discount like the picking style of Jimmy Rosenberg. Just phenomenal. Or Yosho Stefan, who we did as our transcription last month. He's a bit less traditional gypsy, but he's very fast, very articulate, very in control of everything he does. So it's just endless. You watch the instructional like the Brent Mason instructional video. That's completely non-standard, but there's some blisteringly fast and accurate stuff on there. So yeah, it's difficult because what does best mean? There's best for the job, so it depends what the job is. And Russell, yeah, do I have any tips for getting a YouTube channel, guitar channel started? Yeah, I do, man. Ready for this? Do it. Just do it. Just do it. Do it. Just do it. Do it now. I'm relatively new to the YouTube thing. I've been doing it for like 4 years. And when you consider like my friends have all been YouTubing for like 10 plus years, I'm really, really late to the party. Really late to the party. All Gypsy Jazz players hold their pick in a weird way. He isn't. I'm really late to the party with YouTube, and I regret that. I wish I was more active when I was younger, and I just held off. I constantly held off. If you're always holding off for the best that you could be, or I might be better next year, so I'll just wait till next year. You're always going to feel like you could be better next year. The videos that I'm making now are a world better than they were 4 or 5 years ago, but that's fine because I can just delete those old videos and remake them and make them better. So that, yeah, the hardest part is pulling your finger out and actually just getting it fucking done. When I finally got it done, yeah, I had a little bit of things. There was a bit of traction. Things picked up a little bit, but they're still not where you want them to be. But that's kind of the point, right? You don't YouTube for the success. You don't YouTube for the fame, the fortune, and the fans. Like, it's just, I do it because I love it. I can't stop doing it. I really enjoy making videos. And even now when I'm streaming to like 18 people, 18 people is not a lot of people. It's not a lot of people at all. But you 18 people that are watching right now, you're just very important to me. Because the fact that I can do something that you're interested in watching and listening to, that's an amazing feeling. And even though like this stream will cost me money, just having these lights on, it costs the lights, these lights, the electricity that comes out of these lights. This stream will cost money. We've had no super chats come in, got no new patrons. I guess I might have sold a book, who knows? But like none of that matters. I'm not doing it for that reason. I do it because I enjoy helping people and stuff like that. So yeah, the best advice you're ever going to get is just do it. Just do it. Be passionate about it and keep going. So I know what you mean. His hand sort of opens up like this as he's getting faster. But honestly, if you watch like anyone in his family likes the cello Rosenberg. You watch him play, it's very awkward. Or Anton Debar, like again, it opens his hand. They all just try and copy each other, and they get this weird. Yeah, it works. Whereas Joshua Stefan, his picking hand is, you look at his picking hand and go, okay, he's not a gypsy. He didn't grow up on that scene. He's taken to the style later in life. He looks like someone that's played a lot of styles to me and then settled on the gypsy thing. Anyway, let's do David Greer, right? Acoustic guitar, steel string. Oh man, a lesson with David. That would be incredible. Absolutely amazing. Hello, ugly dog. I know you shouldn't talk to your wife like that, should you? I think I got away with it. So we're just... so that was what I wanted to check. So we've got the capo on the guitar, right? So I'm just going to go... I know he goes for what you'd think of as being an E minor chord. If I check that and see if the note is indeed an F sharp, which is what we would expect it to be at that second fret area, then we know that the guitar is standard tuned with a capo on the second fret. The only reason that that's worth bringing up is because there are guys, or at least someone springs to mind, Buster B. Jones, he's one of my favourite like fingerstyle players. When he played a steel string guitar, he used to tune it down a tone, but then put a capo on the second fret, so it would be the same pitch as if you had a standard tuned guitar, but the frets were all a little bit closer together because he felt he had quite small hands. So, so I'm checking for F sharp. Boom. Yes, an F sharp. It's not an E. So capo second fret. And we do that in Guitar Pro in our inspector, tuning, capo on the second fret. Keep the fingering. I know, right? The best a man can get. So just processing that, right? I'm going to zoom in more. So it's... I need to subdivide by 4. Just that will help us. So ear training, just dealing with those first 2 beats. I've processed it, right? But have you? Let's loop it. Da 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 da. He's pulling off there, is he? Ba da ba ba ba. Ba da 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 da. I have to split these here. Now these 16th note like ornamentations, these are where things become magic in bluegrass. A high level bluegrass player, when they put these little trills in, if you like, these ornamentations. And again, like ornamentation in the literal sense, back when you would use ornaments in music, in Baroque music, they are here somewhere. I've literally never used them in Guitar Pro, but I know they are here. They certainly were in Guitar Pro 6. Have they actually removed them? There they are. Okay. So these. And a mordant, a lower mordant, and a turn, and an inverted turn. You would put these... Oh wow, that doesn't sound good. In Baroque music, you would put those in, and it indicates to the player that they, you embellish the melody here. You don't just play the note, put a little trill on it, etc. Stuff like that, very cool. And that's what these are to me. These are ornaments. Do I use the video and transcribe much? I find it lagging or stuttering. Any tricks? Okay, Russ. So if you're having problems with video stuttering in Guitar Transcribe, then 2 things. One, you probably don't have the latest version of GStreamer installed. The thing that makes video work in Transcribe is GStreamer. If you go on Transcribe's website, you can download the latest version of it there. That will fix it. You've also got this bit at the bottom, which offsets the video. So if the video is out of sync with the audio, you can drag it along up to 50 frames that way, or 50 frames that way. So if you're a hair out, let me check. It looks okay to me. So I wouldn't mess with it. But sometimes, I do need to adjust that by like 10 frames sometimes just to get things to line up. But, I mean, it's there as a reference more so than anything. Now this is interesting, right? You could notate that in two ways. You could notate it like that, using the 16th note, or using a grace note. I think the grace note is a little bit more representative. Bum 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 bra dum, like a flam that you do on a snare. Whereas here, bum 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 ba da dum. So I feel the grace note is a little bit more representative. No need to thank me, Russ. Thank you for watching. Just checking my YouTube, seeing if anything's going on. Facebook. That not want to work. Let's try again. Nothing interesting. So, I mean, I could copy here. He's played that. Well, Steve, thank you very much for tuning in. You haven't actually said anything all stream, so you've just been lurking, which is cool. But yeah, I'll keep going, and the stream will be on later if you want to. I won't be here live, of course, but it will be archived on my YouTube channel. You will be able to watch it, don't worry. Which reminds me, I should probably go in and delete the stream that didn't work properly. Let's do that. Oh, that's odd. Huh. That's really annoying. So the one that didn't worked on the replay. The thing that's uploaded to my channel, that actually worked, but the it didn't actually stream live, which is a bit of a shit. Let's delete that. Anyway, where you guys gone? Cool. That is an itchy ear. So, Mr. Yeaterson, how are you getting on without your Patreon all of your own now? Oh, there's a great question. Do I have tinnitus? Yes. Yes, and I hate talking about it. Not because it upsets me, but because I've had tinnitus for so long that most people with tinnitus will tell you this. You just sort of tune it out because it's always there. It's just, I'm completely oblivious of it until someone mentions tinnitus, in which case right now I'm focusing on it, and it sounds like there's a war going on inside my head. Just this... but it would be an octave higher than that. It would actually be an octave higher than that. Like that. It's right between those two pitches. It's right up. We could even... Yes, yeah, up there. But it's sharper than that. It's a few cents sharper than that. It's not quite as sharp as that. It just screams all the time. Just. And as soon as it's been pointed out to you, I can't shut it off now. All I can do is hear it. How many people do I know that have tinnitus? Quite a few actually. People don't look after their hearing. Yeah, like I said, sometimes when I'm sleeping, I can't sleep. Trying to sleep, I can't sleep because of my tinnitus. Because I hear it. I hear it, and then I focus on it. And when you focus on it, it's all you can hear. And it's a complete feeling of powerlessness. And I'm getting quite distressed about it now because, like, I just want to switch it off and just go back to like focusing on work. But because it's the subject, it's there. I can hear it, and I know that there's no getting away from it. It is always there. I will never ever have a moment of peace in my life. It's just a constant. But sharper than that. Drives me crazy. How did I get it? I don't know. Playing in too many rock bands. I find that, like, what I'm doing now, because I've started to focus on something, it's disappearing. Yeah, Russell, it's surprisingly common among musicians. Surprisingly common among musicians. Because we all, I mean, I don't know about you, but when we're younger, we all feel that we're completely indestructible. So although I was constantly told, wear hearing protection, you'll regret that later in life, you know, you feel like you are the star of your own movie in life. And sometimes it's hard to remember that other people are experiencing their own movie as well, if you like. So, yeah, it's easy to think that you are somehow more important than everything else that exists because you only understand your own existence and your own consciousness. Therefore, the idea of your hearing never being, not always being perfect is a hard one to deal with, like your own mortality, if you like. which I'm dealing with as well in my health as well at the moment. Like when I was younger, completely indestructible. I've still never broken a bone or anything like that, but in the last year or so, I've been in the hospital several times for MRI scans, and so they can try and find out like where my issues lie. And yeah, having to face up to that, like if this is something that everybody goes through. It's easy to feel lonely, but yeah, lots of people have struggles with health problems, and because that's not really where I was going with that. Lots of people find themselves in these positions because when they are younger, they just sort of think that it's never going to happen to them. But in later life, they realise that, yeah, everybody acted that way when they were younger, and a lot of us haven't. Where can I find a stool like the one Robert Fripp uses? In the things that you can buy that will make you supremely uncool store. Almost quit music because of tinnitus. That's not an issue. Yeah. Yeah. Just being positive and like quitting music isn't an option for me. It's not an option. I can't not do music. It's who I am. It's my safe space. It's my identity. Even if I didn't happen to make my living in music, like I'd still have to make music. And I do. Like I record music that nobody hears, and I do it because I can't not. It's who I am. So yeah, the mindset is, I guess, overcoming like hurdles that stand in the way and allowing you to be you. Where is he playing that? Okay, first fret. there's a good example of that thing I was talking about earlier. He slides from 4 down to 2, but he picks the open D string. A thing I'm interested about is just taking this. Of course, let's up the speed to half note. Let's go 130. Awesome. Guitar. Oh, that's guitar is cool. I was looking and all I could see was guitar school, but it's not. Guitar is cool. So what I want to do is I want to add this into the Tony Rice thing and see how that comes out. What I'm going to need to do before I do that is just quickly take the capo off, because it won't let me. I don't think it will let me copy that across. And you notice without like a natural let ring, it's kind of ruined. 4, 8. Is it 8 bars that he plays? Let's go track, add, acoustic guitar steel, and it'd be here. And then for your intro, you could where would his melody be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you could put this in here as well. And this is going to work, in theory. I'll pan them so it's not such chaos. And it, because they have the same, literally the same sound, Guitar Pro, whenever they play the same note, it will completely ruin the sound, because it will just duplicate what's there. So if I just change one to Steel Jumbo. Go from the top. See how those two things sound together, shall we? They just layer so nicely with each other. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I like that. But let's remove that. Back to what we were doing. How magical, right? Let's have a look. I'd like to imagine you were out of the house and my neighbours got given the guitar and forgot. Yeah, no, because I sent Lance a message. When was it? I think it was... Yeah, 2 weeks ago I sent Lance a message, and it was literally just, "Hey Lance, just a heads up, in 2 weeks' time it will be 6 months to the day. I guess that guitar's not showing up, is it? ? And he never responded. So yeah, the funny thing, like if you want a lot of fun, go on Facebook and go to TTM USA Guitar Owners Group, and that's basically the group that all of their artists joined when they ordered their custom shop guitars from them, and they all hang out in there. And it's been an amazing 6 months, 8 months or so, just like looking and reading it, because gradually over time people are losing their confidence in the brand, because they were told when they ordered them, oh, we'll have them with you in 2 or 3 months tops. And you've got guys in there that have been waiting over a year. And now TTM have showed up at NAMM, and they've literally got 5 guitars with them. That's it. That's all they've managed to get together. And I had a friend go and play some of them today. He said one of them was actually okay, but yeah, another one was like shockingly bad, like dangerously bad. Like you cut your hands on the fret ends when you went above the 12th fret. It's just laughable. You're seeing people, like I say, lose confidence, and even David Coombs, who's like the big TTM #TTM for life, like that fucking loser. He's been in there, and at times like he's got a bit shitty about the way TTM are conducting themselves. And then like 24 hours later, he's like, I'm really sorry guys, I deleted my post. I don't know what came over me yesterday. Sometimes it can get really hard and frustrating. It's fucking embarrassing. That's what it is. And you got all these guys that they've essentially just funded this absolute fucking sham of a business for them. Like, do you know how expensive it is to go to NAMM? Like VPICs aren't at NAMM because it's too expensive to go. And VPICs, they're a good business. Like they have customers. They sell a lot of picks every year, every month. Again, this stream is brought to you by VPICs. Check them out. They're an actual business, and it's still too expensive for them to go. So for Lance to have fucked off to NAMM, to polish his own fucking pathetic ego, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. They've got their party tonight, right? And they've got an actual venue in which all of their artists You know, your local fucking Joe Schmoes that work in IT and fucking play in the local pubs near you, that are now convinced they're big artists because they go into LA to play at a TTM gig, right? It's $40 on the door to get in. You'll hear something really cringeworthy, right? Tonight, like I say, obviously it's down. There are constantly gigs going on, but right now the TTM gig will be happening soon, and you know, it's a bunch of guys that are average players at best. The only person on the entire list that is of note is Don Dokken, and he's not a guitar player. You know, he's not a noted guitar player. It's $40 to get into their party. Meanwhile, just down the road, you've got Paul Gilbert, Andy Timmons, Andy Wood, Mark Lettieri, and Nilly Brosh are playing. Which of those two gigs are you going to go to? I have no idea what pick Robert Fripp uses. How much does it cost to go to NAMM? It doesn't cost anything to go. Well, I see what you're saying. It costs a lot of money to go to NAMM if you want a booth. So if you want a small booth like TTM will have, that would have cost them over $10,000. No doubt in my mind, over $10,000 just to have that booth. Then of course you've got to travel there with all of your gear and shit. As a, you know, someone that visits, someone like myself, if I go to NAMM, it doesn't cost me anything to get into NAMM because I can get a pass, no problem. Plenty of companies have got passes to give out. If I lived in LA, I'd go every year, but you know, I don't. I live in Scotland, so for me going to NAMM, it's going to cost me the flight to LA, the flight home, hotels while I'm there, food while I'm there. So all in, you're probably looking, I don't know, £2,000 for me to go to NAMM. And sure, I can spend £2,000 to go to NAMM for a week and have a blast. That'd be cool. Or I could stay here and earn £2,000. Like, what's it going to be? Do I like Kiesel guitars? I'm not the biggest fan of Kiesel guitars. Doug has one, and it's cool. Like, it plays great. It played a lot better than I expected it to. My only issue with Kiesel guitars is, you know, they've got a history of not having the best customer service. That's what it comes down to. And I know that every guitar company has problems. Every guitar company will make a guitar that's a bit of a stinker. So I don't think Kiesel will make more stinkers than anyone else. Potentially, they might make more stinkers than other people. But that's kind of that's a natural expectation when you have that many like custom options on guitars. They just, when they do have a problem, they just will not acknowledge it. They will not admit it. Jeff is very proud. And so what that means is that when they don't admit it, it becomes a very public thing and everyone hears about it. Whereas like I've had problems, like my first Vigier that I custom ordered, my green 7-string, I had to send that back to them because there was a problem with the lacquer. You know, no fuss, cool. I noticed the problem with the lacquer. I sent my guy that works there a message and was like, I've had a problem. He was like, what's up? And I just sent him a picture and went, whoa, that is not right. Cool, we'll pick it up immediately and we'll get it fixed. You know, these things happen. But it doesn't turn into a big shit show where Patrice Vigier is sending out emails to me saying, can't you just respect my art, man? So yeah, when you get a good Kiesel, they're great, and most of them are great. When you get a bad one, though, good luck. It's funny you'd say that, right, about Larry David. My personality, my whole YouTube persona, right, it's really two people. It's really like a combination of two personalities. It's Larry David, or kind of David Brent. Similar, not the same. And also House, Greg House of House. Yeah, that's me. That's who I am. Confrontational. Don't give a fuck what people think. Yeah, very analytical. And I've got a big Jewish nose. I'm not Jewish. Anyway, I'm lost. See, something's happened here. I'm off. Okay, I see what I see what's happened. Anyone spot what's happened? Need to put that capo back on. Have I ever played a 9-string? No, you know what? I've not. No, not such a guy. Levi or Leviticus is Hebrew for united. Got the wrong place there. See, I can hear a B in there, but here's that. Open string. That's a slide. Someone's asking about Andy Wood's new album. Behind my face. A bit of C shape of the cage system. Hammer there to the 5th fret. It's bugging me because of the capo. I didn't put a key signature in the other transcriptions because it's only one sharp, but in this case because it's moved up to A, therefore 3 sharps. It's it's annoying me when I'm seeing that. Problem with that is that will have made all of these trying to think what sort of the F sharp. Yeah. See naturals. Actually, that works fine. Hey, Ghost Fixter. Yeah, things are going good. Should we have a listen to what we've got so far? I'll just finish this section. So he's played that phrase there twice. Now, we were talking about technique earlier, right? But the speed that this is done at, having to alternate pick through 4 consecutive strings, that's high-level cross-picking. And the fact that it's just come after that, this is good. Same thing, he hammers onto the 3rd fret while picking the D string. Yeah, we'll leave that there, and well, obviously I'll come back to that, but let's see what we've got. It's a little bit faster, isn't it? So it's like 120. It doesn't sound the best, does it? I play the Laney all the time because that has an effects loop on that set up for my pedal board, which of course is there. Though as soon as my replacement, my new Rev Generator 120, shows up, that will be going out the window. I don't know how much of this I have left in me, guys. I've been going for 3 hours and 10 minutes. what are my favourite amp brands? Or Rev. They make incredible amps. Absolutely insane amps. I really like, I mean, Fender. I do like a clean Fender sound. Really like a clean Fender sound. When I'm playing just, a guitar into amp, I use my Fender Bassman. So that's a really great amp. I really, really like Dr. Z. Dr. Z makes some amazing amps. I had the M12, Dr. Z M12 for a very long time, and I upgraded that to the Bassman because I needed more volume. The M12 was great, but you turned it up and it started to break up, and I wanted like loud, clean tone. The more country I became. But yeah, for the most part, the Dr. Z stuff, anything that does that like really nice quality clean tone, like Little Walter, they make really nice amps too. When it comes to high gain stuff, I guess I'm a man of simple like the Cornford Hellcat. That was my amp for a long time. In fact, Hellcat Molly, my band, half of our name comes from my amp at the time, which was the Cornford Hellcat. So yeah, there's that. So Cornford stuff I really like. What else am I a big fan of? I've played some really nice Diesel stuff that I've really enjoyed. The Schmidt in particular, I really liked that. Like old classic Marshalls, a Plexi, of course, like a Marshall Plexi. You need a Plexi. To be honest, now I've got the Kemper profiling amp. I use that because I've got access to all of these sounds. I've never played for a real Dumble, but I've got a good Dumble sound. So yeah, Joe Bonamassa did buy all the amps. So he's hitting that open D. Does he do it on the F sharp? No. The blue fade, that one. This was my first Mayonnaise Regis. Beautiful. Mahogany. Yeah, lovely top on it. Bare knuckle Black Hawks in there. Matching headstock, of course. Cool, weighty guitar. Yeah, I really like this guitar. I got this right after I ordered my custom shop one, because I couldn't wait the 14 months it was going to take. I wanted one to play there and then. This isn't the same specs quite as my custom shop, but I mean I love the way this guitar looks. Well, Ghost Fixter. All this stuff can be learned. I'm doing this. This is more advanced stuff, of course. This is the advanced transcription. But all this stuff can be learned. You just have to take it from a low level. Russ Hicks, am I excited about any new products at NAMM? There's a few things that have launched that I think are pretty cool. Rev Amplification have launched a Lunchbox amp, the D20, which is kind of cool. It's got a built-in 2-note torpedo load box in there, so you can direct out into a computer or whatever. That's pretty cool, to be fair. With cab sims in it, which is, I like that. In all honesty, the thing I've seen that has probably excited me the most is, and it's not at NAMM, but there's, it's been talked about at NAMM, is Kemper doing a profile editor, like editing software, Rig Manager, to go in Rig Manager, so you can adjust parameters and things in Rig Manager. Because I like the Kemper, I really do, but if I had to criticize one thing about it, is that there's no native software for it that I can, tweak things in. You have to do it all on the unit, which isn't as easy as it could be. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna head off in a second because it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm pretty tired and I've been going for like 3.5 hours. Yeah, so I will just do one more lick. Get your questions in. Right, let's listen to that, and then I'm heading. I will answer any questions that we've had in that time. What am I going to cover in my next live stream? I don't know. My patrons kind of influence the things that we cover in, monthly transcription challenges. So I look at suggestions they've made and, go down that route. So I'll have a look at some of those, see what people think. Good. Keep at it, Ghost Fixter. The more seriously you take it, the more progress you make, right? Rev, you think about really specific type of cookie that you was eating when me and Mike were talking about Rev. That's fun. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. When I'm transcribing, I transcribe on this screen, and I have like Netflix or Amazon Prime or something on this screen, just as background noise. I find background noise helps. To be honest, it helps flush out the tinnitus. So background noise is really helpful. But there are certain films or TV shows or whatever, if a specific episode comes on, I can remember the thing that I was transcribing when I had it on. Those associations, they're really strong, right? Guitar Pro is good, Russell. You'll get on with it. Well, thank you very much, Ghost Fixter. I do this every month, so, tune in next time. Do I ever get trolled or receive abuse messages? The internet can be a cruel and vicious place. It's trolled and abused all the time. Do you have any idea how tiring it gets? People calling me fat. Well done. Well fucking done. Yes, you have noticed that I am a large man. Cool. I'm alright with that. Like this. You think you're going to write that down, and I'm going to go, fuck. Like, I know. That's why I'm in the gym every day, for fuck's sake. What I like to say to people that point out how disgusting and fat I am is, you know what? Sometimes I can get a bit overboard with the eating. That's what happens when you're really successful and you can go out and eat in nice restaurants whenever you feel like it, you fucking losers. Why don't you stop trying to pick on people on the internet and go out and achieve something, you fucking wastes of space? I can't be upset. Like, my sense of humor is a very the most offensive brand of humor that there is. So you can't say anything to me that's going to upset or offend me. And more importantly, the first time I got abuse on the internet, Russell, was the first time I realised that I was succeeding. I was doing something. Because if somebody's going to go out of their day to try and drag you down, it's better than them not knowing who you are, right? So fuck them. Let the trolls come. Exactly. Do you think I care? I don't care. I'm absolutely fine with it, Russell. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to do the plug thing. So this would be my Patreon credits list. You can join that by checking me out on Patreon. There is a link in the description, and if you would like to join us over there, you can do so for as little as $1 a month, actually. And that gets you private access to my Facebook group. We have a really cool Facebook group where, lots of transcription stuff goes on, and we talk about all manner of music things in there, and I share a lot of stuff in there. It's a good community. I really like those guys. So yeah, you can join that for as little as $1 actually, or you can get your name on the credits roll. Lots of stuff that you can get. So yeah, consider checking me out on Patreon. You can also check out my books here. Head on over to Amazon, have a look for Levi Clay, and you will find me. I've written a fair few books. I'm proud of all of them, really happy with how they've turned out. So the new one is Slide Guitar Soloing Techniques. I'm going to have an exclusive offer for my patrons soon where they can pick up a signed copy of that. You can't get that anywhere else other than direct from me. And of course, that's the best way to support me, because I get more money on one of the copies that I sell. You can also check out the link below to Transcribe, and you can pick up a copy of Transcribe. Another good way to support the channel. You can super chat me, but that's not happened in the 3.5 hours that I've done this for. Which, again, is cool. But my point is, these are options when you're on a live stream. And VPix, go and check out VPix in the top right. So much love to those guys, and for anyone that takes the time to watch my content. And you know what? Like, I'm always talking about money. How can you support me? How can you support me? It doesn't actually have to be monetary. You can support me in so many other ways. Just tell someone about my channel. post about me on social media, link to me on Reddit. I keep banging on about Reddit because I just can't get on Reddit. Anytime I post something on Reddit, it gets deleted for one reason or another. They don't like self-promotion over on Reddit. So, yeah, if you want to promote me over there, by all means do. And anything that helps to grow the channel is good. It's good for me, which in turn is good for you. The bigger my channel is, the more time I spend making videos for it. Make sense? Fucking Robert Fripp. Anyway, I'm going to go to bed now. I'll see my wife, maybe. Go do some practice. Go do some transcribing, you useless cunts. I love you all very much, and I will see you for another video soon. Laters.